Good morning and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of Frsis 2025. Now, I'd like to introduce our judges today. The Chief Judge is Dr. Nofazila binti Abdul Rahman, Head of the Infectious Disease Control Division, Sepang District Health Office. The second judge is Miss Adila binti Ahmad from SM Sultan Abdul Halim. The third judge is Mr. Yuswan bin Muhammad Yusuf from SMS Tengku Abdullah Semester. And I, Syami Afif bin Muhammad Syarif Effendi from SBPI Standard, while the timekeepers Nurul Tatiana Anastas Syukri Bo and Nur Fatiha binti Abdul Karim from Sekolah Menengah Sains Kuala. Now, allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-team assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9th minute and twice at the 10th minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now, I would like to invite the first team, Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman, to present. At the end of the
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Is my voice okay? And 3, 2, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum to honorable judges, spectators, attentive timekeepers, moderators, and my fellow comrades. Now, we from Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman believe that in the modern world, commercialized large-scale ecotourism has been anything but healing, anything but empowering, not just to the tourists, but also to the local inhabitants around the ecotourism area, which leads us to our research. From local resilience to global relevance, indigenous ecotourism as a blueprint for sustainable ecotourism and tourist empowerment. Now, before I move on, I would like to introduce our team members. Firstly, me, Amar as the presenter. Second, Akil as our moderator. Third, Izzat as our rapporteur. And lastly, Hadi as our tech assist. Now, in these slides, I will provide to you firstly, judges, our mission. Second, research methodologies. Third, keywords. Fourth, why indigenous ecotourism as a subject of research. Fifth, challenges faces. And sixth, the solutions to these challenges. Now, moving on, our mission is firstly to evaluate the positive effects physically, socially, and mentally of indigenous-led ecotourism, not just towards the tourists that come there, but also to the local community, indigenous communities or other communities in the area. Second, to determine the problems that shackle indigenous-led ecotourism into actually prospering and developing into being much more successful. And third and lastly, to provide the solutions to the set questions. Now, moving on. Research methodologies. Firstly, for research, we read a lot of online articles using Google Scholars, and second and most important, we did a site review at Kampung Kayuh di Tonggang at Hulu Kenta in Perak. Second, for interviews, we interviewed the village chief at Kampung Kayuh di Tonggang. His name was Cik Wan. Third, for questionnaires, we asked a variety of questions which helped us tremendously with our research. Now, moving on. Here we could see some of our pictures during our site review at Kampung Kayu di Tonggang. At the top right, we could see our actual interview with the chief village. His name was Sheikh Wan, quite a nice guy actually. Now, moving on. First, keywords. Indigenous ecotourism. It is ecotourism sites led by indigenous communities. Second, regenerative tourism. It is travel that heals nature and empowers communities. Third, global sustainability framework. It is a shared blueprint to balance planet, people, and profit worldwide. Now, moving on. Why indigenous ecotourism? Well, judges, we believe that the indigenous-led ecotourism, although unpopular with tourists, it aligns the most with not just SDG 3 but also other sustainable development goals. Now, the proof is firstly ecological stewardship and traditional knowledge, meaning that when tourists come there, they are enforced by policies aimed at still help protecting the environment, meaning they are not allowed to litter, they are not allowed to touch certain plants or trees or go to certain areas. And when they go there, they learn traditional meditation, traditional herbal medication, which gives them another route to actually heal their body. Second, community empowerment and local governance, meaning that when there's an indigenous-led ecotourism site, it actually gives out job offers to indigenous people, which in other ways are struggling to find jobs due to their obscurity in Malaysia. And local governance, meaning that these people actually have their own power at the area, thus they actually gain experience. Third, cultural revitalization and tourist empowerment, meaning that when tourists come to these areas, they learn about this dying culture and they come back to home and talk about it to their friends, their families, their neighbors, their whole community, meaning it actually revitalizes these communities. And for tourist empowerment, like I said, the activities at indigenous-led ecotourism is aimed at not just healing tourists physically, but also mentally through their activities. Now, fourth, economic benefits and resilience, meaning that when these places they prosper, when they become successful eventually, the income isn't just being given to the workers or the management, but it is spread throughout the whole community in that area, meaning they build infrastructure, they build clinics, they build schools. Thus, it improves the healthcare, it improves the education and overall life of indigenous communities in the area. You can see this at Kampung Kayu di Tonggang, where the income was actually spread towards the whole village in that area at Hulu Kinta. Now, moving on. Study aftermath. We found that there was a decline in registered indigenous run homestays in Malaysia from the year 2019 to the year 2023. And judges, as you can see, is actually a quite steep decline from year 2019 to 2023. Now, moving on. What are the problems that actually hold back indigenous-led ecotourism into actually prospering, into spreading their ideology of helping tourists, empowering tourists, and also the local communities around it, and also their ideology of protecting nature as a whole? Firstly, we found that there's systemic marginalization of indigenous communities in ecotourism development, meaning that the structures and policies in place in countries all around the world are not aimed actually at aiding indigenous communities along the way, actually, but the opposite actually, where the structures in place are aimed at making it harder for these people to actually get a life, to actually have a job and actually manage an ecotourism site. This leads to cultural and environmental harm while compromising the industry's sustainability claims. Now, moving on. Constraints and challenges. We found that there were two factors. Firstly, systemic structural barriers, and second, operational and access barriers. Now, for systemic structural barriers, there's technology and infrastructure gaps, meaning that there's a lack of clear transportation, there's a lack of Wi-Fi connection, sometimes there's even a lack of water and electrical supply at these areas. Second, land tenure insecurity, meaning that we can see this in places like Australia, where due to the government there making colonialist claims on their land, indigenous communities need to actually fight in court for their own land. Thus, they cannot actually grow this land to become something that they can do for a living. Now, moving on. operational and access barriers. Firstly, capacity gaps, meaning that indigenous people actually lack training, they lack real experience to actually manage an ecotourism site. And second, for digital exclusion, meaning that in the first place that these places are hard to get to due to lack of transportation and transportation infrastructure like roads, meaning that they are secluded from big cities. Thus, when tourists cannot come here much more easier, thus they cannot promote these places to social media because why? Because they have never been there. Thus, it creates a world where indigenous-led ecotourism is widely unpopular among tourists. Now, what are the solutions? Firstly, we found that there are three. Firstly, policy and regulation. Second, awareness and advocacy. And third, funding and support. For policy and regulation, implementing cultural and environmental codes of conduct, meaning we want a change in legislation. We want a change in government policy where the policy is actually aimed at helping and guiding indigenous-led ecotourism into prospering better, growing and developing much more better compared to when they're on their own. Now, moving on. For awareness and advocacy, promote storytelling through media coverage. For example, judges, maybe a news outlet or media outlet could come to these areas and actually do a partnership with these indigenous-led ecotourism sites so that they can actually spread the word, spread the stories of stewardship, spread the stories of empowering tourists and also the communities around it to other people so that they can try and experience this magical world. Now, moving on. Funding and support. Allocate tourism grants to support cultural and conservation initiatives, meaning that when these places actually have the funds, have the money, they could hire better contractors. They could actually fund educational programs to give to schools, to teach children about indigenous communities. Now, judges, what is the conclusion? It is apparent that indigenous-led ecotourism is clearly important at spreading the word and spreading their policies all around the industry of ecotourism so that much more parts of this industry actually applies the policies in indigenous-led ecotourism sites to actually empower tourists and also the people around it. So thank you. Any questions?
I would like to invite participants to ask questions.
Thank you.
If there are no questions from the participants, then the judges can ask questions.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Very good presentation. Can we turn back to methodology slide? Methodology. Okay, can you explain more on the research part of your research? The
Oh,
research
Or
of
the
your
research
study.
part of the research.
Yes.
Alright. So mainly research. We went to a site review like the pictures. Also, if you want on articles, or I forgot the author, but you can actually search it. There's a paper about ecotourism in Nigeria and other African countries and the impacts of it on local communities. Sorry, I forgot the author, but I sincerely ask you to actually check it. I swear there's a paper on it.
So basically, you are doing can I know what was the site?
Wow. What is this like?
The site that you got the article from?
Oh, search Google Scholars.
Google Scholar.
And you go to Google Scholars, just be like a search. So just search like indigenous ecotourism, and then there's a whole lot of papers.
And then which part of your slide that relevant? I mean that is part of the research. I mean the research part of your study.
Oh, actually,
The findings of your
findings. Yeah. Here. This one. No, graph. This one is also, but this is more on Actually, this is another one. It's not from the Nigerian one. This is Motec Homestay Program Reports. But when I read about the paper of indigenous communities, indigenous ecotourism sites in African countries, back. So this is one of it, meaning that in the paper they actually compared the benefits and cons of indigenous ecotourism sites. So I took the benefits here.
How many articles have you read to come to these conclusions?
I read 2 or 3 because mostly, even though they kind of worded differently, but all the conclusions are basically the same. So if you want to search it, yeah, I implore you to search.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway, sorry for not providing a source for this.
Okay, all right. Very simple question. I think you need to go back to your research methodology slide. All right, okay. I can't help but to notice there's one questionnaire being, okay. One of your research methodology mentioned about questionnaire that's quantitative. Can you explain more about how you go about doing that? And what are the findings?
What are the findings? For the questionnaires, we actually asked the people at Kampung Kayuh di Tonggang. You know, there's the village there. And we asked like, what are the main problems, or what are the problems that shackle indigenous ecotourism in that area. So one of it was actually how they disliked tourists littering everywhere, or they dislike people coming to like basically university students in the area coming saying they want to go for research, and then they litter trash. And then also they talked about, when we asked how could they actually attain this ecotourism site where it was actually quite nice and quite stable, it was found that they were actually partnering with an NGO. I forgot the name of the NGO, but I swear there's an NGO. They were partnering with them, so the NGO is supplying them with water pipes and housing and etc. So actually, when we asked about the litter, it actually shows that indigenous people really care about the environment. So they would like to enforce their policies even further, even though the area have become much more, even though the area have become a little bit much popular. We actually can see this in the Great Bear Lodge, Canada. Judges, you can search it, where it is a very popular indigenous-led ecotourism site by the, I believe it's a Yat Yai people or something in Canada, where they have grown much more the popularity compared to other sites. But even in their popularity, they still enforce policies that are geared towards economical stewardship. Okay.
Thank you, Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman. Now, I would like to invite Sekolah Menengah Science Bagan Datoh to present.
Okay. Test, test.
Test.
Test, test.
We will start our presentation in 3, 2, 1.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very pleasant day I bid to all the judges, timekeeper, speaker, and members of the floor. Nice to meet you all. We are the representative of Sekolah Menengah Sains Bagan, and today we would like to present to you our research entitled The Role of Ecotourism in Promoting Physical and Mental Health. So before we proceed, let's meet our research team. Hello again, my name is Azuddin Muhammad Shah, and today I will be the presenter and accompanied by my fellow comrades.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Damia Hani and I am the second presenter and also the moderator of our team, accompanied by my fellow mates, Alisha Zahra as a reporter.
And last but not least, our coolest technical assistant, Adam Haikal. And not to forget, our beloved teacher advisor, Mr. Azwan. Did you guys know there are very concerning diseases nowadays, and this disease can give a negative impact not only towards our physical well-being but also towards our mental health. For example, anxiety, depression, these kind of diseases are getting more popular amongst students nowadays. Thus, we are proposing ecotourism as one of the ways to heal our physical and mental health. To ensure the success rate of our research, do lend us your ears and we will go through our education journey together. Before that, there are three main things that will be highlighted into the educational journey. Firstly, as you can see, is ecotourism. Ecotourism is a responsible travel to natural areas that help to protect the environment and benefits the local communities. Do you guys know Malaysian history of ecotourism can be traced back in the 1970s with the government first tourism policy in the 1980s. Secondly is mental health. Mental health is a state of well-being in which a person realizes their abilities, copes with normal life stresses, works productively, and contributes to their community. And lastly is physical health. Physical health means the body is functioning properly without any injuries or disease and is a normal, healthy condition. Next, we're moving on to our research objective. First, we want to explore how ecotourism supports physical and mental health, such as lowering stress and improve mood and focus. Number two, we want to understand what people think about the health benefits of nature based on the survey results later. Number three, we want to highlight the importance of connecting with nature for overall well-being. Number four, we want to show how ecotourism encourages healthy living and raises awareness about the environment. And lastly, number five, we want to align ecotourism policies with health benefits. Now we are moving on to the problem statement for our research. While ecotourism is widely acknowledged for promoting sustainable travel, its specific impact and environmental awareness, its specific impact on physical and mental health
remains underexplored, although many individuals believe that natural environments positively influence for overall well-being. There is a lack of empirical evidence detailing how ec- ecotourism activities contributes to reduce stress, improve mood, and enhance cognitive function, which leads to a research gap that is about planning and policy integration of health benefits into ecotourism. To sum up, the main problem statement, this study is to address a gap that existed by investigating the therapeutic potential of ecotourism and its role in supporting holistic health. To carry out our research, we have used a combination of qualitative and quantitative methods. For our quantitative methods, we have conducted a survey. Then a survey consisted of 16 questions, and the respondents were students, civil servants, private sectors, and self-employed. Looking closer at our demographic, there are a total of 110 respondents. 61 out of 110 respondents were female, and the remaining 49 respondents were male, with the majority of 57.14% of the respondents were aged between 13 until 17 years old. That's all for me. Now I will pass the presentation slide to my fellow comrades. Nodam Yahani, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum and hi again everyone. Before we dive further to our next slide that is survey data, I would like to clarify our aim for today. That is to ensure ecotourism is crucial to improve and heal overall human mental and physical well-being. Next, we would like to talk about the most significant questions from our survey data. Looking at question 4, how often your school organize field trip? With a majority of 50 people with a percentage of 45.5 answer with rarely. Next, going through the fifth question, do you agree that schools help promote ecotourism that gives out benefit to human health? With a majority of 63 people answer with agree. And going through our last significant question is, do you agree that the natural environment plays a crucial role in promoting overall well-being? With a majority of 70 people with a percentage of 63.6 answer with agree. And to sum up our survey data for today, we believe that we have achieved our goal. This is because majority of our respondents believe that ecotourism gives out significant benefits to overall human health. And furthermore, going through our next slide that is interview feedback. As you can see from the slide, our team has interviewed 4 people with a question, do you always think that nature is a place to find inner peace and why? Thus, to conclude their response, being in nature brings us back to our true self, helping us see and feel things we often miss in daily life. It fosters a spiritual connection with our Creator and can be a powerful tool for healing both mentally and physically, though each person may have their own preferred way to heal. And proceeding to our next slide, that is suggested solution. One of the suggested solution is schools should organize more field trip. This is based on the survey data that we have shown earlier. Most of our respondents believe that school plays a crucial role in promoting ecotourism. And secondly, NGOs should organize awareness program. This is to encourage awareness about ecotourism, such as plant trees campaign and fun run. And lastly, government should introduce environmental syllabus in education. This is to raise an awareness about environmental conservation and healthy lifestyle. And to summarize our educational journey for today, we believe that ecotourism gives out significant benefits to both mental and physical health. By encouraging activities such as hiking, wildlife observation, and immersion in natural environments, ecotourism not only promotes physical fitness but also reduces stress. The peaceful and scenic settings of ecotourism destination also provide a mental escape from daily pressures and fostering relaxation, mindfulness, and emotional well-being. Ultimately, ecotourism not only contributes to environmental conservation, but also to a healthier and at the end of the day, more balanced lifestyle for individual. And going through our last slide, that is the references throughout our whole educational journey. And I believe that's all from us. Thank you for lending us your ears.
Now, I would like to invite participants to ask questions. If there are no questions from the participants, I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Okay, good morning. Okay, very good presentation. All right. Now I would like to ask question about your research methodology. All right. How many responses that you get for your questionnaires?
A total of 110 respondents.
And whom are they actually comprised of?
Um, uh, s- Students from around Malaysia.
Around Malaysia or your
From
school only?
SVP North.
Okay.
Because we have conducted the questionnaire when
Mhm.
our school hosted the debate.
Oh, all right. Okay, very good attempt. Okay, my next question is, okay, in your survey, how many questions actually being asked? 16.
Yes, 60
Okay,
questions.
all right. Okay. Next question. This is with regard to the suggestions given. All right. Okay, about the awareness program. Can you tell us or enlighten us on any awareness program that the school or your school previously had? Okay, on when it comes to ecotourism.
And I believe that previously our school also had a fun run program, as I said earlier, and it also helped us to reduce stress, as I said earlier, and add the calmness to our as we go through the program together.
Okay, I think it's a good presentations, well organized. I got it. Make me difficult to ask the question. So I think, what is your limitation in your studies? What is your limitation? This is bonus question.
Can you repeat the question, please?
What is your limitation? What is your limitation? Limitation.
Limitation for our research? We believe that this research have no limit because we are also underexplored for our research, and we hope other researchers can continue our research based on the research that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sekolah Menengah Science Bagan Datoh, for the presentation.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now.
Test mic. Testing.
Now, let's hear from the third
Test,
team,
test.
Sekolah Menengah Sains Kuching, to present.
A very good morning, I bid to the honorable judges, timekeeper, moderator, repeaters, and fellow audience. We are from SM Sains Kuching, and today we're going to present about discovering Earth's hidden gems in Sarawak. This topic discover. This topic explores how ecotourism contributes to biodiversity, community, and personal wellness. So before we start, we would like to introduce briefly about our team. So the presenters for today are Muhammad Aidit and I myself, Adeline Rachel. And the technical assistant is Christopher Nevin, and there we have Dia Fahani as our moderator, alongside our teacher advisor, Miss Madam Kaisara. So here is the things that we're going to walk through throughout this presentation. So first and foremost, I would like to define the three words that we highlighted in our presentation. So, firstly, the ecotourism itself. The ecotourism, based on our understanding, is sustainable travel that conserve the environment and preserve the local culture. Next is ecological degradation. Based on our understanding also, ecological degradation means damage or destruction of nature and the environment. Lastly, ethnography research. Ethnography research is an observation to understand the culture of variety of ethnics in Sarawak. From there on, we come up with a problem statement. So despite ecotourism's potential to enhance biodiversity, conservation, community resilience, and personal well-being, its actual impact in Sarawak remained under evaluated, especially amidst rising environmental and cultural pressures. So, our research objectives are to evaluate how ecotourism contributes to the biodiversity conservation, how ecotourism not only contribute to the biodiversity conservation, but also to community resilience and individual wellness. Secondly, we also uncover the ecological and cultural richness of Sarawak. Next, I'll pass the presentation to Aidit.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. My name is Muhammad Aidit and I will continue the presentation. To achieve this, we are doing an ethnography research by doing a survey, interview, questionnaire, observation, and a data analysis. For our survey, we are doing surveys and questions for some local and tourists. And we're also doing an observation to a tourist site. While we are doing an interview with Mr. Calvin, the assistant manager of Sarawak Tourism Board Agency. Next one is data analysis that we get from the Ministry of Tourism. If you can see, from the year of 2022 to the year of 2025, the number of tourist arrival is increasing. This is because the growing interest of the foreigners to come into Sarawak and uncover all the environment. From our analysis, we came to three major issues. The first one is lack of awareness, and some of the problems for the lack of awareness is lack of knowledge on sustainable tourism, irresponsible tourist behavior, limited youth engagement in conservation. The second one is lack of eco infrastructure, energy inefficiency in tourist accommodations, limited eco-friendly tourism infrastructures in Sarawak. The third one is a waste issue. The first one is a plastic pollution in tourist areas. Some of the popular tourist areas that having a plastic pollution is beaches. Tourist detachment from environmental responsibility, lack of hand on eco activities, wildlife in the endangerment due to waste. To overcome all the problems, we came with the recommendation of solutions. The first one is community centers and school can organize an ecotourism awareness campaign. Some of the example of the community center is a non-governmental organization center. This campaign is to educate students and the local people to about the impact of irresponsible tourism, how to be responsible tourists and respect the culture and respect the local culture. The next one is the Trash Hero Track. Trash Hero Track is a program where a tourist brings their own eco-friendly bags, and the owner of the ecotourism sites will provide glove and trash picker for them to pick up the rubbish along the track and while they're enjoying their journey for their ecotourism sites. This campaign will educate tourists on the importance of a clean environment and preserving nature to raise awareness and responsibility to help preserve our nature. Also, this campaign can reduce plastic pollution and protect wildlife. Another innovative solution is inspired by a full tree house sustainable resort from Okinawa, Japan. This resort is 100% using renewable energy and a very minimal impact design. Also, this is a beach rock tree house, Okinawa, Japan, one of the tallest tree house, and what important here, and it's promote a sustainable tourism because they're using a solar energy. Last but not least, over-tourism. Over-tourism occur because there are many visitors flock to a destination that will cause waste and pollution. There are many ways to overcome this problem, and these are the example. First, through cleanup and remediation programs. For example, the government will do a partnership or collaboration with the NGOs for beach, forest, and trail cleanups. The second one is install waste traps in waterways near tourism areas. For example, floating debris trap and bubble barriers. In total, our findings highlight ecotourism multidimensional impact. It supports environmental sustainability, strengthens local communities, and enhance tourist overall well-being. What is the meaning of overall well-being in here is the tourist itself, when they travel to any state, any country, all they want is a peaceful mind. They want to heal. They want to have a peaceful mind. In short, it's a gateway actually for them to run from all the hustle and bustle and hectic life from the city itself. So these are the all the information that we get from. That's all from us. Thank you. Any question?
I would like to invite participants to ask questions. If there are no questions from the participants, I would like to invite the judges to ask some questions.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Thank you for the presentations. I would like to ask, you have a questionnaire done in your study, but there was no finding or result of your questionnaire findings. Can you share with us as a summary?
All right. Thank you for the question. So for the questionnaire that we are doing with the local people or the tourists,
Okay.
they are all about in 20 people that we interview with a question. We ask about what do they think about Sarawak ecotourism, and most of the response is Sarawak ecotourism has been expand in a great way, but the only problem in Sarawak is the ecosystem, the
environment.
The environment itself is not fully representing the
I'm sorry. This is what he meant. He meant that the tourists like the environment, but however, there are some problems which are which like treasures, and the environments are not so clean that makes them think that uh, that is the problem.
Okay, can you go to the research objective slide?
research objective.
Okay, I would like to know which part of your findings or results that answer towards the uncovering the ecological and cultural richness of Sarawak. Do you get my question?
Yes. So from this part, while doing interviews with some people, some tourists, we went to Sarawak Cultural Village. So while we are interviewing, we also uncover the culture inside the culture village. It's like the culture village is the place where the Sarawak heritage is kept in, and then while we come to interview the tourists, we also come to see the heritage there.
No results to show us.
The result, go to slide where the survey data collections. Okay, so from here, these are the houses that in the culture village. So in these houses, there are many heritage, like they kept the ethnic heritage in this house, and the tourists went there. We also went there to interview the tourists, and we also see the heritage in there.
Okay, I'm sorry. What did you uncover? Never mind.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sekolah Menengah Sains Kuching, for the delighted presentation.
Yes. Tes. Tes. Alright. Where? Mbok. Tes. Mantap. Tes.
Now, I would like to invite SMA Edu Global Bandung, Indonesia, to present.
We will start our presentation in 3, 2, 1. Greetings. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you all for being here today. It is truly awe-inspiring to see so many great individuals gathered here sharing one single concern, and that concern being the well-being and cleanliness of ecotourism. To be specific, our team is going to be talking about the well-being and cleanliness of Taman Hutan Raya Insinyur Haji Juanda, Bandung, or as we all lovingly call it, Tahura. My name is Aryo Mika Hamzah Nurianto as our team's moderator. And then we have Muhammad Aira Naufal Adlan Kamil as our team's technical assistant. And last but not least, we have Herdian Malik Ibrahim and Sena Atandra Norman as our presenters. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to Tahura. Tahura is a beautiful and vital green spaces in Bandung. What we are going to be talking about may sound simple, but actually is very important. That is cleanliness. Cleanliness may seem like a small issue, but in a place like Tahura, it has a very big impact. A small trash, such as plastic bottles, snack wrappers, or even cigarette butts, won't just go away by itself. It can harms the soil, pollutes water, affects wildlife, and also ruins the beauty of nature that brings us here in the first place. What we hope to achieve with this research and presentation is not only to just throw trash into bins, but we want to change habits and forms a culture of preservation and the care of Tahura itself. So without further ado, Sena, the time and place is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Mika, for that opening. So before starting this, let's all start with the background. Why did we do this research? Basically, Taman Hutan Raya is a designated conservation area and also a tourist attraction located in the city of Bandung. The ideal condition of Tahura is clean and healthy, and it lives up to the ideal condition. The reason why Taman Hutan Raya was named Taman Hutan Raya, it was named after Engineer Haji Juanda. He was a Tasikmalayan hero who was coincidentally born on the same day as Tahura was founded.
Okay, so for the problem formulation, as you can see here, we have 2 points. The first one, how far does management in Tahura support the cleanliness and hygiene of the area? And for the second one, how does the food in Tahura affect the visitor well-being? And for that, our research objective is determine the extent of waste management in Tahura and how the food in Tahura affect visitor well-being. So Sena, what is our main point in this research?
Right, since our topic is community health and well-being, we need to know the definitions of these two words. First of all, we have community health. Community health refers to the health status of a defined group of people and the actions and conditions to promote, protect, and preserve their health. And community health is really important for the society to create healthy environment and systems that support long-term well-being. It is also crucial for building resilient, equitable, and thriving societies. Next up, we have well-being. Well-being is most commonly used in philosophy to describe what is not instrumentally or ultimately good for a person. When people experience high well-being, they tend to be more healthier, more productive, and more satisfied with their own life.
Okay, so for our research methodology is this research used an accidental sampling for the sample selection. The research was conducted with some survey. The survey started from the first pose, going to the cave and their feeding, and lastly to the waterfall. This research used percentage data analytics system. The percentage will show the result for the past few interviews. So Sena, what's the result in this research?
All right, so in total, we have 5 pie charts. The first of all is the cleanliness of the park. So as you can see here, almost 50% of the individuals that we asked think that the park is dirty. And there are more people who thinks that the park is dirty in comparison to the individuals that think the park is clean. Next slide. All right, we have variety and nutritional value. As you can see here, almost everyone, almost 50% of the individuals that we have asked think that the products here are snacks that are unhealthy and bad for your health. All right. And right here we have food hygiene. Although the percentage of the hygienic food is high, the unhygienic percentage is also high. As you can see, it fills up a quarter of the chart. And next up, we have impact on overall well-being. 50% of the individuals that we have asked in Taman Hutan Raya thinks that the Tahura has zero impact on their overall well-being. And we have availability of waste bins. So in Taman Hutan Raya, we have asked multiple people about the availability of waste bins, and almost 50 people believe that these waste bins are only available in certain times.
Okay, so in conclusion, as you can see here, we have 2 points. First one, the food available in Tahura is considered fairly hygienic by most respondents. However, in terms of variety and nutritional value, many respondents reported that most options are limited to snack or less healthy choices. And for the second one, the waste management system in Tahura is generally perceived positively by most responders. And our suggestion for Tahura is As you can see here, we have 4 points. The first one is advised that the management of Tahura increases the distribution of waste bin, particularly in high traffic areas. And for the second point, collaboration with small local business or food vendor should be considered to provide more diverse and nutritious food option. And for the third point, it is advised that park management conducts regular visitor satisfaction survey, especially for regarding cleanliness and food services. And for the last point, program such as walk good walk nature, morning exercise, and eco-educational workshop can further enhance the health value of visiting Tahura. And here is our reference for this research.
All right, so that will conclude the end of our presentation. And before we continue further, what we can conclude from the research is that while a lot of people perceive Taman Hutan Raya as a clean and hygienic place to do sort of activities such as jogging and other sports, it still has many rooms for improvements, like in the food departments and the cleanliness of things. So that will be all from us. Thank you, honorable judges and participants, for your attention.
Now, I would like to invite the audience to ask questions for the Q&A session. If there are no questions from the audience, I would like to invite the judges to give questions.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a few questions. Based on your research, you have a survey done, a questionnaire. So how many respondents in this survey?
All right, thank you so much for the question. So in total, we have interviewed 100 people.
100 people. Good. So then you have some what we call observation of the. Let's back to the research method. So there was no observation at all. No.
All right, so thank you for the question. So we did, in fact, other than the surveys, we conducted quite multiple observations in the place by the four of us. So we did observe the Tahura itself.
So what is your based on your observation, what you can conclude from your so-called observations?
Thank you. So based on our observations and multiple visits to Tahura itself, we concluded that most of the Tahura is very clean and well maintained, but in certain parts such as the rivers, there are trash lying around, and the availability of waste bins are certainly limited. And that's why we concluded that while Tahura is very well maintained and clean, it still has rooms for improvements.
All right. Okay. You have mentioned about you obtained responses from 100 respondents, correct? Were there any foreign tourists in among your respondents?
Thank you for the questions. Yes, there are some foreign tourists. There were in total of 8.
All right. Okay. That leads to my next question on how this is with regard to the suggestions or what do you call that, proposals that you can add later, right? What can you do, all right, to boost tourism rate among the foreign tourists? What can you do to boost tourism rate among foreign tourists? since you only have 8 respondents. We would like to encourage more foreigners coming to Tahura.
Okay, so thank you for the question. And while we did only found a few respondents that are foreigners, to be precise, we surveyed 8 out of 100, which is not a big amount. But what we can do to boost up that rate is maybe to do more commercials on the place and to spread the word that Taman Hutan Raya is a good place to go. And another thing is that we need to focus on that the Tahura is a beautiful green space that you can visit and do many activities on. So in the end, it's just that Tahura is more appealing to the local citizens that are looking for more healings, such as jogging and the usual morning activities.
Thank you. Thank you to SMA Edu Global Bandung, Indonesia.
Testing.
Hafi. Subhanallah.
Lastly, I would like to invite Sekolah Menengah Agama Persekutuan Kajang to present.
The presentation will be starting in 1, 2, 3. Fame is a double-edged sword, so whenever and wherever it goes, you cannot escape that. First of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to the panel of judges and the fellow presenters who are watching right now. Under the Sustainable Development Goal 3, which is good health and well-being, we have come up with the idea, the price of popularity when wellness sacrificed wanderlust. Of course, I'm not alone. Together along with me, there's my friends, which is Nurul Amalna Iza, Akif Akiki, and also Nur Ashkin Ra'in. We also got the guidance and encouragement from our own advisor, Madam Siti Aisyah. Next, before we travel and dive more deeper, let's discuss a bit about ecotourism. So what is ecotourism exactly? So based on this, in 2013, he has described that ecotourism is to conserve the well-being of the local peoples and also the environment is conserved. Other than that, based on Buckley in 2009, he has stated that ecotourism is also a responsible travel to natural areas that conserves the environment to sustain the well-being of the local people and also to involve interpretation and education. In general, ecotourism is conserving the environment and also protecting the well-being of the local citizens. To commit our study, perhaps we have choose Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park as our case study. Why we choose Kuantan Firefly Park? It's because Kuantan Firefly Park is an important ecosystem site in Malaysia. Not only that, it is also has received various recognitions. Other than that, it is a breeding place for therapeutic firefly species. And believe it or not, it about 8,300 tourists has visited this case study per month. Next. Looking at the graph beside here, we can take a look that the number of visitors has continuously increasing by year to year from 1995 until 2019. So regarding this, it showed that the rising visit numbers have disrupted the natural habitat and strained our local community health and also their well-being. We have also have several objectives to achieve. First, we want to investigate the extent of the ecotourism's impact on environmental sustainability and also public health. Secondly, we want to assess tourist awareness and behavior. And lastly, we would like to propose sustainable management strategies to the authority. Next. We have used some of the methodology. Firstly, we did a literature review, which is we have searched for the journals and also articles from the Google Scholar. Next, we also did survey by surveying in the non-verbal and also verbal ways. And thirdly, we also did interview, some interview with the authority and also some of the locals. And lastly, we have conduct site visit to the Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park. Yes. This is our respondent demographics based on our survey. We can take a look that there is about 63 of male respondents also plus with the 57 of female respondents. And interestingly, in about 120 stakeholders of the respondents, it is the most respondent has answered is about the age of 40 until 49. It's about almost 40%, 50%. I'm sorry. And it makes our research more reliable. Next. This is the picture of our interview with the authority and also the locals. So we have interviewed the authority, which is Mr. Ashraf bin Kamar Zaman. He is an assistant officer of tourism unit of Kuala Selangor Municipal Council. And also for the locals, we have interviewed Puan Norisa binti Samad, she is a RAYA officer at Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park.
Talking about a visitor number, talking about a rising visitor number, we have chosen overtourism as our main concept to guide our research. So why is overtourism? According to Goodwin H 2017, overtourism occurs when there were too many visitors to a particular destination, causing negative impacts on residents, visitors, and the environment. Meanwhile, according to Cohen's K. Postma and PubD 2018, overtourism described the situation where tourism growth leads to overcrowding and the degradation of local quality of life and environment. So, in general, overtourism means that when a tourism places receive an excessive number of tourists, that causing it to face negative impacts on the environment, visitors, and locals. Eventually, environmental degradation has become the price of popularity of Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park, which is water pollution, riverbank eruption, and firefly population decline. So let's move on the next slide. So as shown here, water quality index on the riverbank, water quality index along the river on the Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park has shown a constant decrease between year 2006 until year 2020. A study by Narira Arzaito in 2020 also state that poor water quality is one of the factors that contribute to decline in firefly population. Next, riverbank eruption. As shown here is the location that we use to analyze the heavy metal contamination that has occurred in the riverbank soils in Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park. Apparently, chromium and cadmium shows the highest level contamination in the riverbank soils. Last but not least, firefly population decline. As shown here, firefly abundance index between year 2007 until 2021 has apparently decreased steeply. As mentioned also, as also mentioned by the Malaysian forester, the population has deteriorated due to the presence of pollution. As our result of survey question, we more than the half of the respondents agreed that they have noticed a decline in firefly population in recent years. And this is also supported by Google reviews that shows that majority of the visitors were unpleased visiting Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park due to the decline in firefly population.
Now that we've explored the environmental degradation caused by over-tourism, it's time to move on to the next issue. Let's take a look at the result of a survey we've asked the locals and authorities in Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park. The statement we posed was the presence of too many tourists has caused congestion, affecting the well-being of local community in Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park. What stands out here is that the percentage of those who agree on this statement, which is 54%, are significantly higher than those who disagree. On the next pie chart, we can see that on the next pie chart, we can see that nearly half of the respondents agree that local residents gain sufficient support to deal with the impact of tourism. Although it is important to note that 16% of respondents disagree and the others are unsure, which makes the majority of people feel that the support for locals may still be lacking and unclear. On the next pie chart, we can see that 67% of respondents agree that pollution related to tourism in Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park, such as from boats and garbage, contributes to the health problems such as coughing. Now, let's turn our focus to the second objective, which is assessing the awareness and behavior of tourists. Looking at the first pie chart, under this objective, we can see that 70.3% of respondents disagree on this statement. This indicates that locals feel that tourists lack awareness of the need to protect the firefly habitat, which will threaten the long-term sustainability. And the following pie chart, we can see that 80% of respondents agree that careless or irresponsible tourist behavior is the main cause of environmental damage in Kampung Firefly Park that will later on affect the health and well-being of locals in Kampung Kuantan Firefly Park. Now, with this in mind, let's now dive in our third objective.
Thank you. After carrying out several methodologies, we come up with 4 sustainable management strategies that can be implemented to address the issue. Number 1, education initiative, which means the government will gather funds to ensure the tourists the government will gather funds to ensure the tourists are educated about importance of preserving the environment in order to create responsible tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look at the graph chart. As you can see, 88% of respondents had agreed on education initiative for a responsible tourism. Next, as you can see, 67% of respondents had agreed the recent boat should be replaced to electric boat. In conclusion, over-tourism can destroy our mother nature and effect on mental health and well-being. However, we must find way to overcome these problems in order to retain the sustainability in ecotourism. So this is our reference that guide us to commit the studies. That's all from us. Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite the audience to ask questions. If there are no questions from the audience, I'll invite the judges to give questions.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. A very good presentation. I noticed that one of you said, I think you,
Yes.
I'm not sure your name. I'm so sorry. You said your result is reliable, isn't it?
Yes.
How do we know that it's reliable? Have you done the reliability test?
This is not interfere what the reliable identity test like what you just mentioned. It's because the most respondents are in about 40 years old until 49 years old. This is has pictured that they are matured to understand what the questionnaire is about, so they can conduct the question so well.
Did you adopt or adapt the questionnaire?
Sorry?
Did you adopt or adapt the questionnaire?
We are adapt.
Or you
to the
create a new
questionnaire.
one?
The new one.
Yeah, we are
Hmm?
creating a new one. Yes.
You create a new one. Have you
Yes.
done the pilot test for that questionnaire?
Test. Yes, we have the results.
Result of what?
Results. Yes. With the sustainable management strategies. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you to SMA Persekutuan Kajang. Thank you for all the fascinating presentations from all the presenters. Thank you to all the judges for your time.